Hooray! His name shows up on the end, and then you show up, and it's just me. Hi guys, it's just me. Sunday fun day. It's Monday now. Check out my cup. It says sip on it, so it's a sippy cup. Everybody doing today? Oh, there we go. I was just gigantic. We're essentially getting a Q&A with me. Bull's here, of course, because why wouldn't Bull be here? He's God. He's everywhere. You want to say hi, Bull?
Hi, Bull.
Hey. God is sassy. Yep, this one is live. It is me. I'm able to change the stream name because, it's Steve's channel and he didn't quite give us all of the information when he texted me this morning being like, yeah, do the thing. But yeah, it's just me taking over. So unfortunately I wasn't able to do a Cheshcraft today because I'm house sitting, as you're aware. I'm babysitting this cat. This is Goji. So I don't quite have the setup for a Cheshcraft, but I will do that while Steve is in Dallas. What are you doing? The cat's trying to crawl into the couch. So if you guys have any questions for me, I'll be doing a Q&A. So feel free to shoot your questions in the chat. You can tag me. I mean, Bull's probably willing to help out with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I can handle that since it's just us chatting on the stream for an hour.
Yeah, we're doing super day. We're doing super chill today. I do want to run something past you guys, and you guys, I've been playing with this analogy a little bit. It's not quite finished, but you guys can tell me what you think. And it essentially has to do with people who decide to be neutral as information kind of tends to tip one way or the other. So I'm going to present it to you guys, and you guys can tell me what you think and tell me where it kind of needs to be tweaked and adjusted a little bit because it's not perfect yet. I'm still working on it.
The internet problem.
How the fuck did one babysit a cat?
Ooh, good question. How do you babysit a cat?
Yeah, you keep an eye on the cat, you play with the cat, you feed the cat, you water the cat. And probably pet the cat.
Yeah, the lag, folks, is actually on Chesh's internet because she's house sitting. She can't actually access the Wi-Fi. She's on Wi-Fi, so yeah. I got the audio, I don't have the video good.
I'm really sorry. Does the cat have severe medical issues? This cat does not have severe medical issues. She did have a scare when she was a kitten, and she ended up with like a hole in her head, and lost a bunch of weight. But she's good now. She put on some weight and she's nice and healthy, as you can see. Clean the litter box. That's right. Don't forget to clean the litter box. I don't know what she's getting into, but it's something. I have a lot to say about your art. I mean, go ahead and say it.
Yes, P.O., we value your opinion here, by the way.
Yeah. Yep, we did just start. So I'm going to present to you guys real quick as we kind of pull in questions or just kind of get the ball rolling. Essentially, it's an analogy using Lady Justice and the scales. So if you're being neutral about a position, and there isn't evidence one way or there's equal evidence one way or the other, and you decide that you're going to be in the middle, that linchpin of those scales. As the scales tip one way over the other, then you have to acknowledge that this side has evidence and this side doesn't if you want to remain neutral. However, if you're trying to treat both sides as if one side doesn't have a bunch of evidence on it, then what you need to do is you actually need to step on the scale on the opposite side, and thus you are no longer neutral. So if you were to take the non sequitur situation and say, oh, here's all this evidence coming out and all of this information about all the bullshit Kyle pulled, you're neutral saying, okay, well, I'm looking at all the evidence and it's all leaning on one side, but I'm going to feign neutrality by saying, oh, well, maybe Kyle this, and all of a sudden you're pushing on the scale this way to rebalance it, or say something against Steve that may or may not be reasonable or even related to rebalance the scale when the scale is no longer balanced. So you've actually moved away from being neutral and you are tipping the scales at that point. Tell me if that makes sense to you guys. Did I ever make a flipbook drawing? I did. Once upon a time. It's long since gone. It doesn't exist anymore, but I did do a flipbook thing before. It was pretty bad. It was like somebody coming down an elevator and then coming out of the elevator. It wasn't anything. Then Steve wouldn't be agnostic. That's a little bit more nuanced, but yeah. Chesh has 2 arguments Steve is not able to bring. What would those be? This is gonna be such a chill stream. Jimmy, GE, et al. Let their personal bias force the scales unjustifiably. Yes. So essentially, if they liked Kyle, they would say, oh, well, but Steve is this to try to balance this. Well, Kyle was justified because Dick would be like, oh, well, they're just falsely pushing one side of the scale down to try to claim neutrality, but you're not neutral if you're tipping the scale. You're neutral if you're looking at both sides and you actually, once the scales have tipped enough in one direction to justify to you, because you're the one making the decision, you still have to decide what's going to be justified to you and what isn't. So if the scale is only like tipped a little bit, you might not decide to make the decision. That might not be enough justification for you. It goes and goes and goes and goes. At some point, you're going to have to say, okay, well, no, this is decided. And at what point do you think that's justified? And that's going to be up to each individual person, right? Some people don't need a lot. Some people need more. Some people, and then when you get to the point of, oh, well, it's tipped like this. Oh, well, this unrelated thing to try to do this is not, that's not neutral. Right, Helios is correct. You being neutral doesn't mean you always have to force things into a neutral position. Correct. If you're trying to force a neutral position, you are tipping the scales, in which case you are no longer neutral. Being neutral essentially just means being fair in hearing out whatever people have to say. And where that you'll get to where you've listened to somebody enough and you're like, I no longer care about what you have to say. Or you can just say, well, you haven't demonstrated your claim. It doesn't mean you have to listen to them forever. You're neutral if the scale tips and you still don't give a shit. No, I'm actually opposite. I'm saying if the scale tips and you don't give a shit, then you're not being neutral because you're readjusting the scale. That doesn't mean you have to act on it. That doesn't mean like you have to do anything. It just means that if the scale tips and you say, okay, but to rebalance it, then you're not being neutral. And if the scale tips and you say, I don't care, well, then you're not really adjusted, like then you're not having anything to do with the situation anyway. You've actually removed yourself from the scale entirely. Even neutral people should come to a conclusion on situations, because not coming to a position is called being indecisive. Correct. If you've decided that whatever justification you've decided is good enough for you, wherever that is scale, just because you've come to a conclusion doesn't mean you weren't neutral and doesn't mean you're still not neutral. New information could still come. If that is the case. I can decide that Steve is correct in the non sequitur situation and Kyle is incorrect. That doesn't make me not a neutral party. It means that there's enough for me to justify my position from my point of view and from what I've been able to look at. The way you become not neutral in that situation is, one, if you start to tip, or two, you ignore, if you're just like, oh, well, that information doesn't count and I'm ignoring this one and that one to rebalance the scales. What was Boole's favorite thing to do as an engineer?
My favorite thing to do as an engineer? My least favorite part, of course, was the math. My most favorite part was actually scanning electron microscope images on this beautiful 50-inch monitor sitting in front of me right now, which is why I purchased it in the first place. So it was actually an expense for work, and I got reimbursed on it. So yeah, I would look at scanning electron microscope images that were sent to me, of course, for analysis, and attempt to find out why people. Here I am thinking Twitter again. I'm looking at Twitter. It's your fault, Cheshire.
What?
Why?
I'm looking at Twitter. It's your fault.
Why parts weren't functioning the way they were designed to function, basically. So yeah, that's the fun part, is looking at it and exploring around, because if you've ever looked at a chip under a microscope in any capacity, it's literally like looking at a city. So
welcome, Elusive Man, and thank you for joining the membership. Church of Chris for 50 DKK says, may the best of the last year be the worst of the new. Happy New Year, everyone. That's adorable, and I love that.
I love it too.
How's it going, Steve and Chesh? Steve's not here. It's just me and Boole. So, hello.
Hello.
I almost said chest. And Nikki Nack says, does staying neutral involve trust of both sides? It doesn't necessarily involve trust, but it does involve charity. You don't have to trust somebody to hear them out, right? And then because you could know somebody is like a straight up liar and they lie like, no, let's go 95% of the time. Let's just pull that number out of our ass. Say somebody lies 95% of the time and you've rated that 95% of the time they're lying. That does not mean that they're necessarily going to be lying in this situation, and that does not necessarily mean that you can't evaluate what they're saying on a case-by-case basis. In fact, not trusting somebody is a reason to evaluate what they're saying on a case-by-case basis, that rather than just assuming they're lying all the time. But you're just not, instead of assuming they're not lying, which you would with most people, you're saying that I don't trust you, therefore I'm going to evaluate what you say, rather than saying you don't trust them. If that makes sense.
And as if somebody is being called out for evidence, like if you feel like, hey, you said something that I don't necessarily believe, I want evidence of that, that's okay to want that evidence. But if they don't have it or they don't want to provide it to you, that's kind of when you fall back to the reputation of that person. But that can be sullied by lies about that person too. So it's a complicated thing.
It is. It tends to be that I tend to remove trust from it completely to the best of my ability. What I do is I tend to trust people to be people. So I trust that people are going to try the general things about humans. They're going to try and present the evidence or present themselves in a way that's going to look best for them. They're going to try to make things sound good from there, and they're going to have their point of view and their spin on it, no matter how trustworthy they are or not. So you can give them the charity of saying, okay, well, I'm going to sit down and I'll hear you out, and I'm just going to ask a couple of clarifying questions, but I'm not going to accuse you of anything. When you're no longer neutral when you start accusing, because now you're especially if it hasn't been justified to make that accusation, right? So say, oh, fuck you, Boole, you're lying. Well, based on what, right? That's not a neutral position. That's not approaching the situation from a neutral position. Does Bull have any pets?
I have my service dog Dexter. I'm going to try to pull up a picture so people can have a good look at him because he's adorable.
Dex cute. When are you guys getting non-sec show back? Whenever the court finishes what it's doing. I don't know how much longer we have. I don't think it's too much longer, though. But I'm not 100% sure. That's a better question for Steve. I just got here. Am I late? A little bit, but we're being pretty chill. Only softball questions today. I am out of here. Well, I'll take your question too, Jason, if you would like. You haven't asked any that I've seen, so tag me if you want a more difficult question. I'm just taking them straight from the chat. How long do you give charity? Well, that's up to you. That's entirely up to the person. I tried it up until I'm done talking to that person. So I try to grant the entirety of throughout the conversation, but as soon as I'm done with the conversation and I'm done talking to that person, that's when I'm like, I'm not granting you charity anymore. I'm no longer talking to you. You're wasting my time. That's usually when. That's for me though. That's up to every person. Some people will stop charity and then continue the conversation. A lot of the times I don't tend to bother continuing after that point because it's not really much of a point. Why Chesh abandoned her dog to watch a cat? My sister is the one who came and picked me up when I was living in Nova Scotia to get me out of there so I would not be completely homeless. So I owed her one. So I'm looking after the cat. Puck is not abandoned, though. Puck is very happy where he is. How did I meet Steve? Oh, don't you know dogs are the worst, according to Islam? Ah, boo!
Not this dog.
Boo. Oh,
that's my Dexter.
My heart. He's so cute. He's so fucking cute. How did I meet Steve? I was watching Non Sequitur while I was working 10-hour night shifts in an office. And so during that time, I ended up getting onto Twitter a little bit for my art stuff. And I also... The main reason I actually ended up meeting Steve was through Flaffin. Through Flaffin Bam. Because me and Flaffin got into a conversation trolling, like just messing with somebody else because their arguments were all over the place. And that was on one of Steve's conversations. So I ended up asking Steve a little bit more about his position of agnosticism, and I sent him a couple of questions, and we ended up talking in DMs on Twitter. And Flaffin encouraged me to join into the community a little bit because when I finally decided, like, oh, well, you know what? I'll try the Discord. I'll see what's up in there. Guess who was in there? Flaffin! And I was like, oh, hey, man! Oh, that was a good time. That's how I met Steve.
It looks like Red's rhetoric is in the chat.
Helios575. Oh, God. Good. Demonetized. Helios575 says paranoia is just as foolish as blind faith. Also, don't mix up people's their info in a positive light as them lying. Don't forget your C's. Yeah, just because they present themselves in a positive light doesn't mean they're really lying about it. A lot of that has to do with just how they perceive what's going on and how they want to present a situation. It's not necessarily a malicious in any way. Are you guys going to do members only chat? I want to do members only chat for April Fools.
That would be hilarious. See. That's the only time it would be funny. Other than that, I think it's a horrible practice. If you can't turn on slow mode or get moderators you can trust, then you don't deserve a live chat. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with Bull. The charity principle is simply a method of evaluating a person's position. It doesn't guarantee that the extent of most care. Yes, correct. Kimona is correct. Real combo. What's my best evidence for my atheism? My best anti-atheism is that it literally makes no sense to me. Theism makes no cognitive sense to me in the logistics of the way any of it operates. So let's say, like, if you're going to pull angels, I would say I don't understand how angels would function in the real world. Like, I don't, like, none of that. Analyzing all of that, like, just does not cognitively make sense to me. And any god that I've encountered, like, logistically just doesn't function, and that's why I don't believe in any of them. How's your new relationship with Jared? It's great. Thanks for asking. Jared's so cute. He sent me a picture of him with blue hair. Oh, adorable. Bull's dog is lovely. Dexter melts my heart.
I think Pio's just being contrarian. He's sitting there saying,
"Oh
dogs
no,
are
that's fine.
stupid."
They were just asking to make the chat more interesting."
Yeah.
Quick, mods, kick out that other mod. Get out of here. How dare
Get out
you?
of here, mod. How dare you?
The video's
Yeah.
lagging on my end. I'm sorry. It's quick, members chat only. Who would win in a debate? Cheshire Sisters cat or G cat? I don't know. One in the chat if you think Go G would win. The chat if you think G Man's cat, G cat would win.
I think yours would win personally because G-Cat's cat is damaged goods. That cat is traumatized. It has PTSD for sure.
That poor cat. Yeah, no, that seen the look on that cat's face. Like, oh dear. G-Cat for the win. I don't know. G-Cat it does have more experience than Goji does, though, to be fair. Bye, Lindsay. Who would win between Franklin Richards and Dr. Manhattan? Trick question. The answer is Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom always wins because there is only Doom. Dude took on 5 Celestials and held his own. Dr. Doom would win. The next great debate on the channel: cats are greater than dogs, or are dogs greater than cats? I think it kind of just depends on what you're looking for in a pet and how you are as a person. Dogs are very involved, and cats are a little bit more passive, depending on like the animal it's themselves. So like some cats need more attention than other cats, and cats tend to be a little bit more independent, where dogs are more like not necessarily attention driven, but more driven to interaction. They're more social in that way, whereas cats are a little bit more lonery. Who wins between Dr. Doom and Zool? Dr. Doom. Doom always wins because there is only Doom.
Hey, if the Ghostbusters can kick Zool's ass, then freaking Dr. Doom could. Just saying.
It's a good point. Aside from Boole and Steve, who do you enjoy streaming with the most and why? Oh, that's a good question. Who's a lot of fun? I'm kind of harking back to my time when I used to stream art. Because that was really different because I was by myself. So I tended to this is why I'm interact with the chat a lot, because chat is my actual favorite person to stream with, and I don't know if that's cheating, because chat is like keeps the shows interesting. Chat is realistically the viewers, and chat are the ones who drive the channel and drive the show, in my opinion, particularly a show like Caffeine Corner. Without the chat, then it's not really that much fun, then, is it? That's why members only chat doesn't really make any sense to me. Kiki, if there's any point to a public apology when you know the person can possibly use it against you in the future. Oh, you mean is there any point? Should some charity be applied? It kind of depends a little bit on the apology. I've had people try to demand apologies out of me to then use that, utilize that to say that therefore I did something wrong. So the trick is that if you're making an apology that you don't want to get twisted, because public apologies can be twisted, is it depends on who you're apologizing to, what you're apologizing for, and how you apologize for it. How you apologize is incredibly important in like how and what you're saying. So if I make a mistake about something, then generally I'll be like, oh, my bad, here's the correction, and then I don't go any further. I'm not going to justify or explain myself, because you don't have to justify being incorrect. That just happens. Or if it's just an honest mistake, you just be clear and be concise, because then it's a lot easier to not have it twisted. I think public apologies are important, though, if the statements that you've made are in public. So any statement that is addressed any statement that is made in public needs to be addressed in public. Because if you don't address it in public, then especially when you're a public figure or you're a personality, then the people who follow you don't know what the hell is going on. You can see that issue between Shannon and Steve. They've addressed their shit in private, but because it's not public, people still are to this day ask questions about what's going on between them. Spooky versus Casper, who prevails? Dr. Doom! You and Steve should try to get Rags on again. Would probably create good conversation. Oh, for sure. I'm absolutely down to have Rags on again for some time. Maybe we'll be able to bring him on non-sec once we get rolling again. Chesh, who do you want to be president, you filthy Canadian? I would be happy to see somebody in Sanders. I would probably rather see Sanders as vice president than president, and I think it's Elizabeth Warren is her name. I would probably go her, just because she don't take no shit. She's badass. She does not care. My God. I bet you say that you talk to. Yeah, I do, because I love chat. That's not true. I've been pretty toxic at before, and I'm just like, ooh, never in my streams, always in other people's streams. Like on other people's channels. I've never experienced it myself, but like I've experienced it being on the receiving end of that, but not on my own channel or in my own space. Hi, Chesh and Steve. Hi. I'm just going to assume that Steve would say hi back. Where is Steve? Ready for his trip to Texas, where he's going to go do his Bible talk speech thing about agnosticism. And it's going to be live streamed on their, I think it's on their YouTube channel, but I don't know the name of the channel, so I'll probably have to find that link later at some point. Helios 575 Giant Meter 2020. Is that who's going to win the election? Who wins? Victor Von Doom or Dr. Doom? Yes. Is the video really jumpy? It's me. I'm sorry, the video is jumpy on my end. I don't have the best connection right now, and I apologize. Who has the better hair, Chesh or Steve? Oh, well, that'll be up to chat. Chat needs to decide that. So, chat, you let me know. Whose hair is better, mine or Steve? 1 in the chat for Steve, 2 in the chat for me. Pio, when I say Chesh can bring through arguments which Steve can't, I said that she has longer hair and glasses with, in fact, 2 lenses. That's true. Both of my glasses, or my glasses, do have 2 lenses.
Oh, Helios, that's freaking hilarious. My hair is in the mid. It's in a in between stage. It's not really long, but it's not short either. It's to the point where it's annoying. I have to get through the annoyance to have long hair.
Yeah, having long hair is really annoying. I kind of want to cut all mine off. I'm not gonna lie. Who wins, Doctor Doom or Keon? What's the competition? If the competition is being kind of the worst at everything, it's Keon. Best N64 game. Banjo Kazooie wins for me, then Majora's Mask. Best N64 game? I mean, it kind of depends on what you're going for. If you're going for developing into the future, I would say Smash Brothers, because Smash Brothers has turned into a whole online competitive scene, and it's been able to expand massively within its own industry and spawn other things and just bring things together that you'd never see otherwise, like Solid Snake and Bayonetta. If you want, again, something that changed the game, GoldenEye changed shooters forever up until Halo came out. If you want, Super Mario 64 did a ton for platforming, 3D platforming games, and if you want something like, if you just want and then you got, well, Mario Kart 64 is amazing. I love Mario Kart on the N64. So I would probably say my favorite game that I really enjoyed playing was Banjo-Tooie, because I actually played the second one before I played the first one, and probably one of my games that had some of the most hours on it would be between Mario Tennis and what's the other one? Mario Tennis and Pokemon Stadium, because Pokemon Stadium was a lot of fun too. But I will point, do not forget about Mario Party on the N64, because that changed the game as well. Do I play any online games? I play League of Legends sometimes if I feel like I have time or I just need to kind of get away from stuff. I'm in like mid-gold tier range. I don't play enough to get any higher, but I have a plat level statistics on that game. I play other couple games offline, but I don't have too much time to play online games. Safe travel, Steves. Do I play Dota? I actually played Dota before I played League. Back when I played Dota was back when Phantom Lancer was called Cancer Lancer. So Phantom Lancer, every time he attacked, he had a percent chance of spawning a clone of himself that would attack with like a percentage of the stats. But then that clone had a percent chance of spawning another clone, and then that clone had a chance of spawning a clone, so you just make him attack really fast, so he would just spawn infinite clones. They like him Cancer Lancer because he would just spread and go everywhere. And that was also back when Drow Ranger had that bug where she, like, her stat doubled at level 11 or something like that. It was a long time ago. It was... God, it was almost like 7 years ago when I played Dota 2. Conker's is good. I'm not the biggest fan of Conker, mostly because I didn't play it when I was younger and I didn't play it as a teenager, so I only got to play it as an adult, and it was fun. It was good. Some of the movement felt a little bit hefty, which is why I tended to prefer Banjo over Conker, but Conker was good. I don't deny that at all. Final Fantasy VII was very good. I played it in high school. I was, spoiler alert, Eris dies, and I was really pissy that I couldn't find a way to kill her myself because she was useless. That character becomes completely null and void as soon as you get Cure and can put them together. And that's really early. Now, realistically, that's probably on purpose because the developers knew she was going to die and you needed some way to heal yourself. But I just didn't see the point of her put the game in because I was like, what do I need a healer for? I have Cure All. I used to have a Dreamcast, an old Nintendo, a Sega Game Gear. I don't have any of those things anymore, unfortunately. A lot of it got nixed and didn't make it to Nova Scotia because somebody didn't bring it. Does anybody remember the Mario Party game where you have to jump over the fire rope and it's basically hopscotch? Or not hopscotch, skip. You're just skipping. Oh man. Yep. Back when Dota was when Dota was a mod. Yes. One of my absolute favorite bug in a game I've ever seen has got to be the Meepo bug. So in Dota, because you can make your own game modes in Dota 2, you can make a game mode where anybody can play any character. So you can end up with 5 people on this team and 5 people on this team, and all of them are playing the same character. And there's a character named Meepo, and Meepo was a micromanaged character where you could play. When you're controlling one Meepo, you're controlling 5 individual Meepos. And the way the character works is if one of the Meepos dies, all of the Meepos die. So if all 5 people are playing Meepo, you've got 5 Meepos. You've got 50 Meepos on the map. And if one of the Meepos die, all of the Meepos die. So you can run around in the game, you're playing, and there's so many different Meepos, and you're trying to, as yourself, only control 5 of those Meepos. But if any of the Meepos die, it doesn't have to be your Meepos. If any of the Meepos die, everybody on the map dies. That's hilarious. I don't think that bug exists anymore, though. Legend of Dragoon. I never actually finished Legend of Dragoon. I only got to try it out a little bit. It was good from what I remember. My favorite game is on the PlayStation 2, though. Yeah, I apologize for my crappy internet. What's my favorite nickname for snacks? Murder Spagurter. I do like Murder Spagurter. Which chat is she reading? Your chat. Hi. Conquer. Yeah, Conquer was right when you're like between 13 and 17. It's like this nice sweet spot. Phantasy Star Online. No, I played Star Ocean, not Phantasy Star, unfortunately. I really liked Zelda Breath of the Wild. That is a Zelda game I actually really enjoyed. I didn't I thought Ocarina of Time was fine. I didn't like the day system in Majora's Mask. Like, I get it. I totally understand why it's so good, and Majora's Mask is better. I just got frustrated with it when I was younger. But I really enjoy Breath of the Wild, and unfortunately I don't have a Switch anymore. Or the game. All I do is work. Those who can't Dota go League.
I was gonna say, maybe we should... I've got your avatar from Twitter up. I was thinking maybe you could turn off your camera and I could put that up. And that might actually help the audio a little bit too.
Sure, give it a shot.
The video is ass from you. I'm sorry, it just is.
Anyway, there's not really a point in looking at it, is there? Do I read books? If so, what is your favorite book series? Mine's currently Earth Girl series by Janet Edwards. Can recommend. Okay, send me that in DMs because I'd love to look into it. I don't get a lot of time to read books, but when I do, I love reading fantasy books. I enjoyed the Legend of Drizzt series for a really long time while I was in high school, and one of my favorite is called the Stone of the Stars series. It's 3 books long. Stone of the Stars. What is the second one called? Oh, whatever. It's the Stone of the Stars series. It's just 3 books long. It was really good. Diddy Kong. Who doesn't like Diddy Kong? Play the game Legend of Dragoon. That was my favorite game on the PlayStation 2. Did Legend of Dragoon was on the PlayStation 1, not the PlayStation 2 though, wasn't it? If I'm remembering correctly. Maybe I'm wrong.
PlayStation 2 did play all PS1 games for the most part. I think there was only a couple titles. There was a couple titles that didn't go on the PS2, but there was some quirk to them, and that most people didn't even ever have them, so it was no big deal.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. My favorite game is called Tales of the Abyss. It's a PlayStation 2 game. It's by Namco. It's one of the Tales series.
I liked Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus on the PlayStation 1. Those are some of my favorite games.
Well, thank you, an intrigued feline. I'll have to check it out and see if I can find it online or something.
They were like the precursors to Cuphead. They were puzzle games, and they were just so flippin' hard as platformers. It was just insane.
Nice. Yeah, it had the critical hit timing. Final Fantasy VIII also had the critical hit timing. That shit annoyed the hell out of me. I did not like Final Fantasy VIII. Yeah, I haven't changed the title from the last one. I don't think I can. Steve has to go in and do that, and Steve's not here, so, StarCraft. I never played StarCraft. I've only heard good things about it. I've never actually had the time or chance to actually learn how to play. Metal Gear Solid. I only know some of the story. I never actually got to play it, so I don't have an answer. But the story kind of threw me off because it just went all over the place, and I was just like, I just can't even with that. I have a hard enough time trying to keep up with the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, alright? I don't know what you want from me. Final Fantasy 12. I only got to try a little bit of 9, and the combat system in 10 was good, even if the story and characters were trash in 10. But I've heard 9 is good, but I only got to play like the first couple of minutes of it. 7 I enjoyed. 12 I'm not terribly familiar with it, but from what I hear, the first chunk of the game is kind of a waste of time, up until you're basically part of the Sky Pirates. And then I tried online, and I didn't mind it. It was okay, but I'm not a big MMO person, so that's kind of not really a fair assessment.
I don't know. Kiki Dawn asks, "Is there anything new followers should know about Bullinger?" I don't know what they would need to know about me.
Bool is God.
Yeah, there's that bit. Not really sure what do you want to know about me is the question, I guess, Kiki.
Mario or Sonic? Mario's games are better. Sonic has a better character design. Maybe Chesh's avatar predicted Baby Yoda. Freaking Baby Yoda. I've been considering doing art of Baby Yoda and Baby Groot, like, fighting or some epic clash battle or something. Have you considered the Outer Worlds Obsidian? Definitely knocked that one clear out of the park. No, I'm not familiar with that one. I'm down to give it a shot, but when is Dumbfuck of the Year award show? The decade is almost over. There was rumor that it might have been tonight, but I think that's changed because it's actually New Year's, so I'm not 100% sure. You have to ask Reds. Resident Evil. Resident Evil is so cool. The new Resident Evil. What was the one where they're in the bayou in the creepy swamp? That one was good. That was cool. Oh, Lost Odyssey. I played a very, very small amount of it. Stupid Horror Energy says, Kiki, do you love me? God damn it. I really like Beat Saber, but I don't have... See, this is the thing. Talking about games makes me sad because, one, I don't have time to play games anymore, and two, I don't have any games to play for the most part because all of my game systems got taken from me. So I don't have my Switch, I don't have my VR headset, I want to play Beat Saber real bad. Baby Yoda versus Reds trying to use the Force to take off the paper bag. Oh god, no! Baby Yoda, don't do it! Where are the recap videos on KJ? Have you been too busy with other stuff? Both. I've been busy doing that, and I've also been busy dealing with the mess that has been Twitter and dealing with some of the Unirock situation. So I've been kind of bombarded with a bunch of bullshit that slowed down my work on that, but it's almost done. I'll just have to do... I have a little bit of art left to do for it, because of course I'm doing art for it, and then I just kind of have to put all of the elements together and do the recording, and then it'll be done. What do I draw on? You paint on oil, canvas, but I'm looking to get started doing digital. Okay, so what I have is I have an XP pen, and it's just XP-pen. It is a third of the price of a Wacom, and it runs better as far as I'm concerned. I like it better than my high-end Wacom. My Wacom cost me when I got it, and it was the Wacom 13 Companion Hybrid. When I got that one, when it came out, a good number of years ago, like 6 or 7 years ago now, it cost me about $1,300, give or take. Now Wacom doesn't ship to Canada, so it cost me a little bit extra to get hold of one. And it's good, like it functions. It's heavy because it's also a tablet. But the XP pen, I've got the Artist 12 Pro, fantastic. Could not be happier with it. It cost like about $300. Beautiful. So I would definitely recommend checking out XP Pen. They have things that are really good prices. They're not going to break the bank. They work just as good, if not better, than a Wacom. How did your stuffs get taken? Oh, okay. So what had happened was I was dating someone and living with them for 5 years. And a friend of ours that I was friends with I was dating for 6 years, and a friend of mine that I was friends of mine for 4 to 5 years decided she wanted to move out east. I had the potential this is while we were working on the Slippery Slope show, so there was work to be had through that, as well as I had a bunch of money saved up so I could switch over to doing art full time, as well as potentially get a job at an animation studio out there. So we made an agreement that we could find a place together because she wanted to go to school out there. We'd get a place together. The guy I was seeing at the time would stay behind for about a month or two while I got stuff set up, and then he would come and join me with the rest of our stuff because I hadn't been able to see the place. I didn't know how big it was going to be and what we were going to be able to bring and what we weren't. So we got out there. She had met somebody, and they decided they wanted to move in with us, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, that'll probably be fine. And I footed the bill to begin with the agreement that she was going to pay half of it later on, and rent would be split 3 ways. And then they just never paid any of the rent. When the guy I was seeing decided that he didn't want to work anymore where he was working, and decided he couldn't really stay where we were living, and decided to come out early, I said, hey, yeah, no problem. If you can't handle it, that's fine. Come and move out, but make sure you handle the stuff that needs to be handled, including like our stuff, what needs to go into storage, and what you can bring. And however you're going to get the stuff here. Well, he didn't do any of that. He brought all of his stuff and left all of mine, including my game systems, a lot of my books and stuff. So I had the games, but not the systems at that point. So that things kind of fell apart after that. He went back and he took the game systems that he did bring with him, and some of my money. My roommates continued to then not pay rent and never did pay rent or their portion. And basically the deal was that I'll foot rent for the first little while until until your money comes in for schooling, and then you can pay me back. And that was the deal, all in writing. They never paid me back, and then didn't even agree to pay what the amount of rent and utilities was. They were like, oh, well, we'll give you $1,000. A place we were living in was $1,600, so that wasn't even their portion of rent, not including the internet costs and stuff. So essentially I had to move back, and luckily some family gave me a place to stay. My sister came and picked me up. We had a Jeep. I took as much of my stuff as I could fit into a Jeep with me, and everything else. So my books, the games that did manage to survive are gone. All of my kitchen no longer exists. I had so many bowls, but all of my cooking stuff, all of that, it's all gone. So essentially the current stuff that I have makes up of my mattress, my clothing, which is about one luggage bag worth of clothes, my computer, and my drawing tablet, which is not very big, and my laptop, obviously, and my dog. And that's about everything. Hopefully that is the TLDR, I guess. So they owe me a buttload of money because they're think I haven't done all of the math of like having to replace my stuff, but with traveling out there, the amount that I paid while out there and then traveling back, the total cost is currently at about $15,000. Talking about D&D, have you considered gaming a one-shot or mini campaign with a community, celebs, and streaming it? Might be interesting to watch. I would absolutely be down for that, but there's so much going on that maybe once Non Sequitur is rolling and everything is like settled down a little bit, I would absolutely be willing to do that. That'd be a ton of fun. It would also be a lot of fun to like maybe have special guests can be like viewers who want to kind of pop in and out. That'd be a lot of fun. I want you to draw me like one of your French girls. Absolutely. I can. You want to commission me? I will 100% do that. I need a reference photo. You want a touch screen that lets you rest your wrist on the screen. So the one I have does that. The XP Pen 12 Pro does that. It is a screened, and it costs like about $300 depending on where you live. And if you can get it for a deal, and there are multiple versions with different sizes, that one works really well for me. So if you just adjust. You can adjust your price. You don't have to necessarily spend $300. You can spend a little bit more or a little less depending on what you're looking for. Did you play any of the Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor or Shadow War games? No, I've watched people play them. They look like they're a ton of fun, but I haven't been able to play them. I used to rent places with people, and things always got real savage in the rent, food, toilet paper department. So yeah, it can be pretty awful. Those are not friends. Yeah, they super duper fucked me over real bad. That was all just plot development in the Chesh's romantic comedy movie. The announcement is just around the corner. Did Chesh get robbed? In a way, I guess. I wouldn't say I got robbed, but they did steal from me because they haven't paid me back, or even worse. The thing is like, I understand that, oh, well, we don't necessarily have this money right now, so we can't pay you right now, but they straight up refused to work with me on any kind of payment plan whatsoever. They just shut down communication, so I'm gonna have to, go to court. Hi, Nick. Of course I draw French girls. Naturally. Where is Steve? Steve is getting ready for his trip to Texas, so he is not here today. It's just me, and I'm answering questions, and I presented an argument / analogy for what it means to be a neutral party when between two sides, or to look at things from a neutral standpoint, and how to maintain that, and when you've kind of tipped the scales. That's sad. I'm sorry that happened to you, True Tech. I've definitely been in that position. I hear you. Starving artist and all, Were you ripped off, or was it just natural progression? Yes. Both. I have taken over fully for today, but Bool's still here. Nice to see that Chesh is doing her 95%. Yeah, I'm a hard worker.
Everybody's got to do their 95%, right?
Right. You're either bisexual or just don't like long fingernails. My fingernails are pretty long. What do you mean? Both? We could commission you to draw Steve as one of your French girls and then play that on Red's channel. Yeah, we could do that. You'd have to talk Reds into it, but I'd do the art. Are we talking real French girls or Quebec French girls? That's a good question. Hashtag don't forget Bool. Never forget Bool.
I'm actually flattered that hashtag and hashtags like it have been going on as long as they have. Like, it's kind of a thing now. When people see me around, they just say it, and it's very humbling to know that there's that many people out there that support me, and I appreciate it.
Hashtag what about Bool? We love Bool. Neutral party you streamed on that would be interested. Yeah, Nick, we did it today. It's still a work in like the argument is still a little bit of a work in progress. I just kind of presented it today to get feedback. So if you want to jump back and rewatch sort of the first maybe 10-15 minutes of this, and it's all in there. I'm also fine to present it to you sometime if you're interested. Maybe you can come in and we can stream back and forth on it at some point. Draw your best guess of Red's face. I did, actually. I did my best guess of Red's face. It's on a mug. It's called the Fug. You can go buy one if you want.
I was going to say, we don't need to guess about his face. We've seen and cannot unsee.
I'm blind. What's going on? We're doing a Q&A with Chesh and Bool. Because Bool's been kind enough to also answer questions. Trick Red's into playing a video he hasn't watched yet with that as an image in the middle. That would be pretty funny. I don't know. He keeps his channel pretty locked down on what he plays. So I don't know if we'd have to do some work to sneak him into that one. Maybe if we get him drunk. What? You had a drunken roommate in the house that you walked in on as he was peeing all over the kitchen counter. God damn it. I would say that I've never seen stuff like that happen, but I can't. Then I would be lying.
That's funny and disturbing and annoying and pisses me off all at the same time, so yeah.
Yeah, that's like a lot of things all wrapped up into one.
I don't know, stupid horror energy. Why are you straight?
Question 1, where is Steve? Are we cutting him out for another channel now? Oh, cutting him out of another channel now. Yep, nope, this place is mine now. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say Steve's getting ready for his trip to Texas.
Ah, yes. An entry feline says, is there a story behind my new avatar? Yes, some of you have noticed that I have changed my avatar to this gold and black one, which actually has a mind and a heart, because what you feel and what you think are both important. So
Aw, you have a little bit of your heart in your mind and a little bit of your mind in your heart. Somebody's also asking, Bool, how did you meet Pitmonk and become involved with the Morningwood? And also, I will be right back.
Red Eye is the reason I'm involved with Pitmonk. Red Eye and I are friends, as well as Landon Kurt Knoll. So, Landon is and I and some other people and Pitmonk have some big things coming up in the works here. So, stay tuned for that, definitely. The shampoo was always watered down. Oh, I hate when people do that. They take the shampoo because it's running out and they put water in it to get that last little bit out, but it doesn't actually clean your hair. I hate that. I don't know what Chesh is doing. I can't see her. Yeah, that's why we don't put Reds on camera, because cameras and display devices break. That's true, Nicholas. The Daily Atheist. Steve McRae is on his way to Texas right now. It's just me and Chesh, but I'm sure I will pass your message on to Steve. cutting. Well, here's the thing: if you cut them with water, you have to use more. So just use less, and you put water on your head.
I've returned.
Yay! I was running out of things to say.
Hooray! What did I miss? I met a few drunks that confused the sink for a toilet. Yeah. I almost saw red once. I asked to see well on a private stream. He agreed, turned on the camera. 4 monitors blew simultaneously. Office still smells like burnt plastic. Still no idea what he looks like.
Ilya Moon says, Billionaire, do you know what you... Are you doing what you want, or is there anything else you'd like to be doing career-wise? I actually really enjoy producing. I do. I'm good at it, and it's something I can really get into, and I can choose my clientele. So yeah, I enjoy doing this. Is there anything else I'd rather be doing career-wise? I'd like to be doing more from a hobby perspective, but no, I think this is, if I can actually make this work for me, it would be great.
You guys want a fun trivia. What is north wasn't always north, and what is south wasn't always south? 100 or 800k years ago, what was north was actually on the current South Pole. Neat! My flatmates pissed me off, so when I left, I put raw fish in the curtain. They never found it. Oh! Hi, the Daily Atheist.
I don't know why Stupid Horror Energy thinks I'm bad at producing, but fuck them.
No, stream was started on time. We've been starting it at 2 since we hired Bool, because Bool's running on Morningwood before this.
Yeah, David McGinnis and I are backups for each other, so if I need some time off and you can't find a producer, go to David, and if you're using David and you can't, come to me. That's kind of the way that works.
Hooray! So, something that I should clarify. Does anybody have any questions about the 4 C's that we or the 5 C's that we covered from last week? While I'm here.
Give it a couple minutes for the lag.
Lag.
Yeah, the pole moves around. The magnetic poles they move around. They're always opposite each other, but they do move around.
Bool is a bad producer? Damn, may our shows forever suck. I'm cool with that. Bring him. Which C is chocolate? C is for chocolate is the 5th C, which is cookies. 6th C, correction. There should be room for correction. I think that goes under. I think correction would go under charity, because if somebody says, "Oh, I was incorrect," and then corrects themselves, you just, for the most part, I'm usually perfectly fine to grant that. You think people don't remember them? Quick, chat. What are the 5 C's? I believe in you. You can do it.
It's interesting you say that, Helios. He says the poles move around, but sometimes they also just flip. That's true. And we know that because of the magnetic content, the magnetic iron ferrous content of the Atlantic and Pacific rifts. The spreading. I don't know what the feature's actually called. I'm not a geologist, but basically where it's split, that they've looked at the striations in those rocks, and the magnetic alignment in that just flips back and forth occasionally.
Yeah, well, one should always be able to change their stance, yes. Cute Cole, Snide Beer. How do you take your coffee, and what's your favorite childhood movie? Bull?
Ooh, favorite childhood movie. That's a tough one because there were so many movies back then that were fun, but it was the 80s, so they're kind of one-offs. I would have to say Goonies. Goonies was one of my favorites as a childhood. And I take my coffee black.
Context, charity, critical thinking, cookies. You guys, do you guys have it? Quick, somebody go check. Favorite, how do I take my, I don't drink coffee, so I drink tea. And I tend to, my standard go-to for that is Earl Grey, and I usually take 1 sugar and 2 milk, usually, depending on how big of a tea I'm having. Back when I was working night shift and I would get basically a bucket of tea. So it was like an extra large Tim Hortons cup that was the size of my head. I'm sure there's pictures of it on my Instagram if you decide to go look. But then I would get like 2 milk or 3 milk and 2 sugars.
Yeah, and there's people bringing up some other movies in the chat now that I'm just like, yeah, that was better than Goonies, The Dark Crystal, the Jim Henson movies in general. Labyrinth in particular was a spectacular movie. So I mean, it depends on what year you're talking about, really.
Yeah, it kind of depends. Do you mean like a movie you enjoyed as a child, or are you talking about movies that were made for children, or ones that you enjoy looking back on? Yes, it is context, clarify, charity, and critical thinking.
And cookies.
And cookies! And don't forget the cookies. Cookies! Cookies is the most important part, to be honest. And like, if you wanted to actually say which ones are important, cookies is the most important one. And essentially the reason for that is because how you approach a situation is what you're going to get back. So if you don't approach somebody in a pleasant way or in like a reasonable manner, you're not going to get anywhere. And do you really deserve to if you're not going to be kind and reasonable towards people in your approach? And that doesn't mean you should always do that. It definitely doesn't apply to everyone every time. It really doesn't, because a lot of the time, again, cookies is something that is applied as best to you. Just because you're nice to somebody doesn't mean you can't hold their feet to the fire. And just because you present something in a kind way doesn't mean that they can't lose that partway through. So, whose face is worth? Sloths from the Goonies or Reds? Reds. Absolutely Reds. My favorite movie when I was a kid, it depends on what age you're talking about. When I was like a young kid, probably Robin Hood, the Disney's Robin Hood with the fox. That was probably like when I was young, that was probably one of my favorite ones. And then as I got like around when I got a little bit older, like around 10 to 12, I think probably one of my favorite movies was Footloose. Oh, Tea Source. Cool. I've had Lady Grey before that I really enjoyed. That was pretty good. Sloth was beautiful. Yeah, fair enough. Labyrinth is really good. I didn't actually see Labyrinth until I was older, though, so it can't count as one of my favorite movies as a kid. Brit C and Brit S. I'm confused which is which and how they come to play with the situation. Both of them were mods for Katie Joy, and one of them is coming on on my channel on the 7th to discuss their what they've experienced, and the other one is just batshit crazy on Twitter. I also really liked the Mighty Ducks trilogy when I was a kid. Neverending Story was good.
There were so many. Like,
There's
really
so many good movies, yeah. Like, the longer you think about it, the more you'll come up with, too. Tron was good. I did like, I liked Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet was good. I thought Treasure Planet was underrated as a kid. True Text talking about the type of flower, the brand name.
Yeah, if you're gonna talk sci-fi, I mean, Star Trek 2 is arguably one of the best ones from that time period. Star Wars.
I absolutely loved Big Trouble in Little China.
That was a good one, yeah.
To this day, that is one of my favorite, and I really like Demolition Man.
The Golden Child.
I do like a lot of Sylvester Stallone movies, though. Like I also liked Judge Dredd, even though it was like an awful Judge Dredd rendition. Like it's such a bad Judge Dredd movie to be Judge Dredd, but it's such like an awfully amazing movie. Welcome to the member chat, Seshi.
Ilya Moon said Weird Science. Kelly LeBrock, what a babe.
Oh. Ooh. I liked The Next Generation Star Trek, like the TV series. Like if we're going to go into TV series, we're going into a whole nother slew of things. I really liked Digimon when I was a kid. And the saddest episode I have ever seen of any show to this very day is still the Pokemon episode Bye Bye Butterfree. Anybody who says otherwise is wrong and heartless. Oh, Corey Feldman. Lost Boys? Lost Boys was good.
She's talking about Meatballs 4, but yeah, Meatballs 4 was good. It was.
If you guys have not watched Brendan Fraser movies, go watch Brendan Fraser movies. That shit is so underrated. Bedazzled is so good. Blast from the Past. George of the Jungle.
Ooh, Buckaroo Banzai Chemo. Yes, Buckaroo Banzai was the shit. And that's, oh my god. You know,
Encino Man?
Encino Man. It was, if you like Pauly Shore, I suppose.
If you like Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, that too.
I love Brendan Fraser movies. Brendan Fraser's amazing. That dude, I'm so sad that dude's career just kind of stopped. If you guys have not watched George of the Jungle recently, I highly recommend rewatching it because that movie is hilarious and you probably do not remember how funny it actually is.
And YouTube Surgeon General brings it home too. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom.
Oh, yep.
Those two movies were
Clerks.
Clerks, Mallrats.
What was the I enjoyed the Atlantis, the Lost Empire Disney movie, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, yeah, classics. I liked Breakfast Club, I think, better than I liked Ferris Bueller personally. Although I do enjoy thinking about Ferris Bueller older and rewatching it now and realizing that Ferris Bueller is like the bad guy of that story. He's such an asshole.
Heavy Metal, True Tech, yeah, that was a good one too.
Spaceballs. Oh my
Shawshank
god.
Redemption, that was a good one.
Once we get Discord running for Non Sequitur, we should probably just have like a movie club and a book club or something, and just be like, here, this movie, we're gonna watch this movie, and everybody can watch it on their own time. But on this day, we're going to discuss it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I wouldn't want to do like a movie night. That's already a thing. So I wouldn't want to take away from them. And a book club, I think, would be fun. Just a more passive thing.
Speaking of Billy Crystal, you got Throw Mama from the Train, and When Harry Met Sally. Yeah, those were fun too.
The Princess Bride.
Yes, the Princess Bride.
He's the old crazy good. Wizard man.
Yes.
The Princess Bride was. I heard a rumor that they were going to remake that movie, and I got real upset. The genetic opera is good too.
E.T. was good. Poltergeist. Not really a kid's movie, but it was good. That was some scary shit.
Stallone kept the helmet on until his trial, and Judge Dredd. That movie would have been 1,000 times better. Yeah! Oh, that would have been really good. I agree. I actually did like the new Dredd movie, like the movie just Dredd. I enjoyed that as well, too. I also really like Carl Urban, so Carl Urban's great. Terminator and Terminator 2? Hell yeah. Little Shop of Horrors. Do the When Harry Met Sally sex scene. Roger Rabbit. Back to the Future. I loved Back to the Future as a kid.
Yeah, like I said, Goonies is literally the first thing that popped into my head when somebody asked what my favorite movie was. It would take me a long time to sit down and evaluate to answer the question fully.
If you ever need a green card, if you play D&D, hang out, watch movies, I would be up for a fake marriage. if it were that simple, I would probably do it. I do need one, so we'll see. I'll keep that offer open.
How long does this show normally go, Chesh? Just out of
2 hours.
2 hours, okay.
We usually go for 2 hours. Sometimes we cut it short. Carl Urban, The Boys. Oh my God, yes, he is so good in The Boys. That dude is good in everything. He's in the Thor movie. He's the guy with the, what's his name, with the guns? I can't remember his name, but he works with Hela for a little while. He's in Lord of the Rings. He's the one rider of Rowan. He's great. He plays McCoy, doesn't he? Dr. McCoy in the new Star Trek. Listen, I worked my very first job in high school.
Urban?
Carl Urban.
I think he is. Yeah, he is Dr. McCoy, yeah. He does a really good Leonard McCoy too.
Yeah, oh my God, he's so good. I used to work at, my very first job was at Blockbuster. So I used to be really big into into movies, and I used to want to like direct and stuff. So, and I was going to school for set design until they canceled the program on me, so I never got to go. The Outsiders was very good, yeah. And who does not love Patrick Swayze? Everybody loves Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze is amazing. Ghost. I'm a Dr. Jim. Damn it, Jim. Oh my God. We could go on this forever, though, and I think we've gotten so off track. We should probably stop the show now, because we're just gonna talk movies.
Yeah, this has turned into a mutual admiration society at this point.
I think we should actually maybe potentially make a list of stuff that the community wants to watch once we have, Bool, link your Discord.
Let me get an invite real quick. I'll link it in here.
Yeah, there we go. We'll link up the Discord, and once non sequitur is going and things have settled down a little bit more, and everybody's got proper schedules again, because what I wouldn't give for a proper schedule. I've been spending this week trying to catch up and get everything done so I can start new projects. I have like 2 or 3 people that I need to get back on for commissions that I just don't want to. I don't want to 100% take their commissions yet until I've got everything back up and running again, and so that way I can actually stream some drawing and painting and get that going, because that'll be fun. Plus, I have 2 interviews, one coming up next week, and one coming up the week after, like right in a row, 2 weeks in a row. So, whew, that'll be fun. Beetlejuice! Oh my god, Beetlejuice was so good. I could do this forever.
Beetlejuice.
I could do this, and that would be when Steve pops in. Wow, classic Keanu. I love Keanu. I actually like Keanu Reeves as well. That dude has had a difficult life, and I just respect him as a person. And he's been in some really good movies. Robin Williams movies.
We were just talking about Dead Poet Society earlier, so.
Oh, there you go. Anne with an E. Canadian production. I don't think I've seen Anne with an E. I remember Pepper Ann. Does that count? 2020 is going to be great for me. Oh, thank you. I hope so. We've got like a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff in the works, and I'm just trying to get things organized for the new year, hopefully. I'm doing my best. It might actually take a little bit longer just because things are so up in the air, and because I'm, technically homeless, doesn't really make things much easier. So hopefully once things settle down and get things rolling, I'm going to try and accomplish and get things done in best of a schedule as I can, and get things rolling as best I can in the meantime. Tremors is amazing. You're correct. You win the internet, because tell me, what's your favorite Kevin Bacon movie, and why is it Tremors? Because it's Tremors. Let's do movie streams more often. Well, yeah, we should do that. We should do something that's just a little bit more chill like this. We'll tell everybody what movie we're gonna watch. Maybe we'll try and pick stuff that's easy for people to find on streaming services. Maybe Netflix will sponsor us. Tremors. Aw. Well, I appreciate that. Based on the story of Anne of Green Gables. Oh, okay. No, maybe I have seen that one then. And then I think I know the one you're talking about. The Iron Giant, also very good. Any Don Bluth movie, except for Trolls in Central Park, is really good.
The Iron Giant, you pump up the volume.
Yep. Don Bluth stuff is all really good. The Secret of Nim. No, well, what we'll do is we'll just post the list and let people discuss on Discord, and then we'll do the live stream and maybe bring up some of the points for the people in Discord, and then bring up the points for people in the chat, and we'll just we'll talk about the movies. I mean, I do a Let's Riff channel called the Seabad Show. I haven't been able to do it recently because I've been so incredibly busy, but there's a channel that exists. If you go ask Dapper Dino about it, he'll be able to tell you more. We haven't even gotten into like the Studio Ghibli stuff. Psh.
No. If you're looking for sheer drama flicks, Witness was a good drama. It's a lesser known Harrison Ford one, but it was good.
All right, let's. I think we got a good plan in place for the future of doing more like this. I think we've got a good number of recommendations in the chat now. So I think we could probably call it here. Oh my God, Gremlins! Gremlins is one of the best Christmas movies. We'll see what we can set up for the new year to set up and do a little bit more of this. Maybe we'll pick like 1 or 2 movies once a month, and we'll talk about those. Sunday BS chat on my channel. I could do that. Well, we'll see. Usually, if I'm doing something like this is usually how my art streams go. But you'll just see art happening on the screen while this kind of bullshit, like just shitting around, takes place. That's usually what I tend to do. Where you just chat and talk about whatever, and let people ask questions. And people have questions about art, we talk about art. If people have questions about movies and stuff, we chat about movies and stuff. And if people want to tell me what to draw, I usually let chat decide what I'm going to draw that day for at least a warm up, unless I'm working on something very specific. So we'll call it here. Go subscribe to Bool. Go find Bool on Twitter and go help out Bool's Patreon. My Patreon is listed below, probably. Also, my channel is a thing that exists if you want more of this kind of chat, but art taking place. I also have 2 interviews coming up, so those will be ready to go next week and then the week after. Next week is going to be Brittany talking about kind of sort of wrapping up the last of the Katie Polson stuff, and the week after that is going to be Manya and Sweet, and potentially Nikki if she decides that she wants to join us as well, and we'll essentially be talking about people trying to force us into being victims, and how that kind of functions on Twitter, and sort of the kind of crap we end up dealing with from trolls, and how ridiculous that kind of stuff can be. So go find us, hit us up. I'm still on Twitter, so
Yep. So am I.
yay! Go support us. Hopefully we can get movie night going, and maybe we can get a D&D campaign going. We'll see. We'll see what we can do.
All right.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.